Hey girlfriends, welcome back to Girlfriends and Godsip, where we gather every week to talk about life, faith, motherhood, current events, and little lessons hidden in everyday experiences. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad that you are here. And if you've been rocking with me for a while, thank you for spending a little part of your week with me. I don't know what this week looked like for you. By the way, maybe it was peaceful, maybe it was stressful, maybe you had some really good moments sprinkled in between some really difficult ones. But that is what actually inspired today's conversation for me. Today I am sipping on coffee because I'm filming this in the morning as I start my day because I know next week is going to be super busy, but I am sticking to my schedule and my commitments and making sure that I get everything done in an efficient manner so that I don't feel rushed to do anything and I can put out good content, not just rushed content. So I'll link a code because this is actually my RYZE Mushroom Coffee. If you don't know, I'm a tea drinker, a lemonade drinker, but I was approached by this company about their coffee, and I let them know I'm not a coffee drinker because I don't like all that caffeine. Well, this coffee only has 48 milligrams of caffeine, so instantly I was like, oh, well, let me try it. I fixed it the way I liked. It doesn't have added sugars, and I add my lavender and my vanilla syrup and some vanilla almond milk, and y'all, this tastes divine. So it was easy to incorporate this into my day-to-day activity, but I will link a discount code if you want to try it out. It's a 15% discount, but try it out for yourself and then let me know what you think. This week, I kept thinking about one sentence that just would not leave me alone, and it was good times don't replace dysfunction. In my mind, I was thinking that probably only applies to relationships, but the more I sat with it, the more I realized it kind of applies to almost everything in life. So I feel like this. Sometimes we become so attached to the highlights that we ignore the patterns. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, we've all done it. I know I'm guilty of it when it comes to relationships, that one weekend everything is really good. Something might happen, somebody apologizes, we all laugh, things finally feel normal again, and then we think maybe things will be different now. Now don't get me wrong, I absolutely believe that people can grow. I do believe that relationships can heal, and I believe that families can recover. But healing isn't measured by one good day. To me, healing is measured by consistency. One bouquet of flowers doesn't erase months of disrespect. One family vacation doesn't undo constant tension. And one apology doesn't automatically rebuild trust. And I think sometimes we confuse relief with healing. There is a difference. Relief says things are calm today. Healing says things are actually changing. And to me, those aren't the same thing. I think that's why so many people stay in situations longer than they should, because they're waiting for another good day instead of asking whether the overall pattern has actually changed. And y'all, honestly, I have learned to pay attention to patterns instead of promises, because patterns tell the truth. And I know this is really difficult to swallow. Trust me, it was a difficult pill for me to swallow too. But I will say this, the more you get comfortable with just seeing some things for what they are, and that doesn't mean, there's a difference in seeing people for who they are and then having faith that people can change and things can get better. We just have to get comfortable being okay when the patterns don't change. And speaking of patterns, let's talk about something that happened in the news this week. So this week I saw a discussion about a cyber attack that happened on water systems across the country. Now, when I first heard it, I was like, on the surface, this just seems like a technology story. But y'all, What fascinated me wasn't just the cybersecurity. It really reminded me of how much we depend on systems we never think about. Every morning you turn on your water faucet, you expect clean water, right? Well, I don't wake up wondering if somebody maintained the pipes overnight. I just assume that the system works, which a lot of us do. But how many times have we come in, and it probably doesn't happen often, but there are times when you turn that faucet on and sometimes that water comes out brown or a color that you are not comfortable putting on your skin, on your body, in your mouth when you're brushing your teeth, all of that. So what we automatically assume though is that the system works. And that's actually what healthy systems do. You don't notice them because they're quietly doing their job, right? And so that statement that I made about good times don't replace dysfunction actually tied into this for me. That's just the way my brain works. Because like I said, we assume that systems work, which means we get excited about things going right, that we tend to overlook it because it's just been so consistent. But imagine if our water only worked every third day, right? That means, sure, you've had some good days, but nobody would call that a healthy system. Yet somehow, we accept that in relationships, friendships, workplaces, families. If something only works occasionally, maybe the system needs attention. Which brings me to something else I think we confuse: chemistry and compatibility. Y'all know I had to bring chemistry into this somehow, right? After all, what's my motto? Less chaos, more chemistry. But here's something I have learned, you guys. Chemistry can be instant. Compatibility takes a lot of work. Chemistry is exciting, but compatibility is dependable. Chemistry makes you want to stay up talking until 2 in the morning. Compatibility helps you solve problems without yelling at each other. Chemistry starts relationships. Character sustains them. And I think social media does a funny thing. We celebrate sparks, but we rarely celebrate stability. Stability doesn't go viral on social media. Healthy communication isn't flashy. Respect isn't dramatic, and keeping your word isn't very trending. But that's the stuff that builds a life. And because of that, y'all, that is what leads me to my last thought, right? I said it, I touched on it, and I've been touching on it a lot lately because that's been the season that I have been in consistently for a few years now, actually, just protecting our peace as women, especially mothers. Hear me when I say this. We have been taught to hold everything together. We got to make everybody happy. And the truth is, most often we keep showing up, we keep sacrificing, we keep doing all the things, and oftentimes it's from an empty cup. But here's what I have learned. And I'm telling you, I do not make apologies for it these days. You are entitled to feel how you would like to feel, but this is something that actually helped me realize that protecting your peace isn't selfish at all. It is actually maintenance. And protecting your peace isn't always a loud statement. Sometimes it's just saying no. Or if somebody's asking you to stay out later, it could just mean I'm going home early. I'm not staying out. Or I tell you all the time, one that I have actually enjoyed, turning over that phone and taking me a nap. Don't judge me. Sometimes peace sounds like choosing not to argue. I'm not engaging in any arguments. And it's not because we're weak, or it's not because we feel like the other person is right. What it means is I've learned that protecting my peace is worth more than just proving a point. And I don't have to attend every argument that I've been invited to, and I don't have to rescue every situation, especially ones I didn't even create. So sometimes the healthiest thing that you can do is step back long enough to hear yourself think. I won't go on and on about that, but I will leave you with this week. Don't judge your life by the highlight reel. Judge it by the pattern. Because healthy relationships, healthy finances, homes, friendships, faith, they're not built on occasional good moments. They're built on consistency. So if you've been holding on to one really good memory while ignoring years of unhealthy patterns, maybe this week is your invitation to ask yourself a different question, right? Not just what happened on your best day, but what's happening on most of your days. Because that's where your answer usually lives. And I'm not even going to go further because I feel like that's enough to chew on. What I will say is thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If this conversation encouraged you, challenged you, or gave you something to think about, I'd love for you to share it with another girlfriend who might need to hear it. Don't forget that 15% discount code that I gave you all in the beginning. It is Motherhood's Chemistry 15, but I will also link it in the description of this episode. And until next week, guys, choose peace, protect your heart, build healthy systems, and remember, less chaos, more chemistry. Cheers to having an awesome week, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.